Yes, and welcome back to the official Sourcing with Kian YouTube channel. I've got a very special episode for you guys. In this episode, you're going to learn all about how to make your brand more sustainable and environmentally friendly. Let's go. What's up guys, I'm so happy to deliver this episode to you back in my warehouse here in Scotland. And today's episode I'm so excited about. It's all about sustainability in supply chain. So first of all, what is sustainability? What is my definition of it? Well, sustainability branding is tackling and solving environmental issues through your product, brand and supply chain. But it must come from a deeper need to actually solve these environmental issues and not just as a strategy to maximize profits. But as a result of tackling these issues and being transparent with it, it should result in more brand loyalty and therefore higher profits. So let's jump into it. So one of the reasons why I'm so happy and so motivated to deliver this episode to you guys today is that sustainability and environmental issues through products is something that I'm very passionate about. And you know, a lot of people ask me, hey, why did you give out your YouTube content out for free? Why did you go through step-by-step guides of everything? Why did you just put all your best stuff on YouTube? And honestly, the main reason is that in 2017, when I first started speaking in these Amazon circles and environments and speaking to like e-commerce sellers, what I noticed was a lot of them didn't really know how to order products from China correctly. So therefore, they made a lot of mistakes. But when you're dealing with the scale at some of these businesses and they're ordering, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 units, but there were problems with the stock. Well, those goods are getting manufactured in China. They're coming from a raw material warehouse to a final goods warehouse. It's getting packed, it's getting shipped. It gets shipped from China to the US. It gets unloaded in a container. It gets sent to a delivery warehouse. It gets picked and packed in that warehouse. It gets sent to the final customer. Customer sees that the product is totally crap. And then they return it, and then they can't sell the rest of the goods, and then those goods then go into a landfill. So think about that net negative impact that's had on the environment by placing a bad order or not communicating correctly with your suppliers. So one of the main reasons why I want to put out all this content on YouTube for the last few years is that if I can educate people how to source their products correctly, then there's going to be the correct products arriving from China in the first place, therefore less products being returned and less products ending up at a landfill. So that was one of my main motivations. But in today's episode, we're going to get into the actual details and actionable advice in terms of how we can now turn our brands more sustainable and eco-friendly. So let's jump into it. Now, I just got back from Munich, Germany, where I attended the outdoor show by ISPO, and that's like my background. All these products I've developed. It's my family business, Highlander Outdoor, and we do everything for the outdoors: tents, backpacks, rucksacks, sleeping bags, outdoor cook sets, furniture, all that sort of stuff. So this trade show I was attending, all of the market leader brands were there for the outdoor industry. Now, the cool thing about the outdoor industry is that they care about sustainability the most, right? Because we love the outdoors. We love the mountains and the ski resorts and the beaches and nature and all that sort of stuff, the jungles and forests and all that. So we need to protect that environment as much as possible. So the damage that we do through our products and our manufacturing impacts that lifestyle. So the outdoor category are the most forward facing with sustainability. So I was able to learn a lot at that trade show, and then based on my learnings of what the top brands were doing, I want to apply that in this video for you guys today. Now, the good news is that consumers are becoming more and more switched on in terms of the damage that brands are doing, and now they are willing to pay more. In fact, a recent study showed that more than a third of consumers are willing to pay extra for sustainably sourced and environmentally friendly products. And I'm going to link those articles up here and down below if you want to check them out. So I've got about, 18 to 20 tips that I just frantically wrote down. I just want to get this video out as soon as possible. So let's dive in. Point number 1, don't claim to be perfect. Now, being an environmental brand is very challenging, but technology is constantly improving, materials are constantly improving, the things that we can do to reduce our carbon footprint is constantly improving. So we can get better and better day by day and work collectively. But if we give off this impression, hey, we're this perfect brand and everything we do is 100% recyclable and sustainable, then consumers know it's not true. But as long as you say that, well, this is the impact of what we're making, this is how we're improving, and we're constantly striving to do better, more transparency and more honesty is a better approach than just saying we're this perfect eco-friendly brand. Number 2, keep your customers informed on what you're trying to improve. We're not expected to deliver the solution overnight, but if you say, hey, we've analyzed that sending goods by air has got a larger carbon footprint than sending goods by sea, so as a result, we're sending all of our goods by sea, therefore you might incur a slightly later delivery date. So if customers are pissed off to say, hey, why are my goods arriving so late? You could spin it to it's having an environmental impact as use as a result of using more sustainable transport uses, but definitely tell the truth about it. Or you might want to say that you're using electronic vehicles to deliver your goods for the final mile, and those methods of transport are harder to come by. There are eco-friendly delivery systems, which we want to talk about later on, but just be transparent with your customers of what it is you're trying to achieve. And this is also to do with the products and the materials and the innovations in that as well. And if you want even more transparency, you can put a QR code on your packaging, on your hang tag, so customers can follow your journey. You can also have a tab on your website that's about sustainability, which mentions what you're doing with your transport, with your factories, with your products, with your branding, with your delivery, just so your customers will always stay informed, and you can keep updating those websites as well, so customers always know what's going on, and they'll greatly appreciate that. Point number 3, give facts, give numbers, give statistics. Gone are the days where we can just say to our customers that we use recyclable materials. We have to say exactly what material that is, what's the percentage of it. Is it 5%? Is it 20%? Is it 50%? Customers need to know numbers, and they need to know statistics, because they've been lied to for so many years from so many different brands about using organic materials, sustainable materials, reusable materials, but they want to know exactly what. They want transparency. They want information. Now, number 4 is packaging. Now, packaging is one of the biggest wastes when it comes to products. Packaging is used for the delivery of the products. It's used for storing the goods in the shelf. But normally when we order products online, we just open the packaging and throw it away. So how can we make that product packaging more eco-friendly? How can we make it more recyclable? What materials can we use? We want to get rid of as much plastic as possible. And one of the cool things that I saw while I was at this trade show in Germany, actually one of my friends' company that I was on a basketball team with when I lived in Shanghai, his company is called Maxim, and something really cool that I saw from Maxim were these poly bags, but they're not actually made from plastic. So this is a new bag called Polymax. They're non-toxic, marine safe, water soluble, biodegradable, compostable. So it basically means you can drop this bag in the ocean and it will dissolve, and it won't have any harmful chemicals at all. It also dissolves in hot water. It says marine safe. This bag breaks down harmlessly with no toxins, so safe for fish, turtles, polar bears. So imagine having a poly bag like this to deliver your products instead of a plastic bag with a very nice eco-friendly message on it. That's what I was saying about technology. It's constantly improving, so we need to make use of these plastic bags, and I'll put some links in the description down below if you want to order some of these for your brand. But this is something that just came out, and imagine the thousands of products that are just in this warehouse, never mind all the other brands, if we're using non-harmful plastic bags. I was actually reading up online about it, that a plastic bag takes over 1,000 years to degrade, but even when it does degrade, it sends microplastics into the ocean, which is then consumed by our fish, which then we're eating. So then those microplastics then go into us as well. But something like this is non-toxic, non-harmful, so we definitely need to push towards more sustainable packaging. Point number 5 is, how can we increase the life cycle of the product? Meaning, if we strive for higher quality in our products, it means that product lasts longer, therefore they have to purchase less frequently, and also we're not getting product returns as a result. And that can mean that yes, you have less sales because they're purchasing less frequently, but as a result of that higher quality, it creates more brand loyalty, and you can also charge a higher price point as a result of having higher quality and being better than your competition. But that's also going to be more eco-friendly for the environment as well. Point number 6 is find like-minded partners with also eco-friendly values in their business and partner with them. One company, and by the way, there's no affiliation here, that I found online is a company called EcoCart. And with EcoCart, it can be a Shopify plugin or a Chrome extension, and it gives you the option at checkout to know the carbon footprint of the delivery and choose a more sustainable delivery. It also tracks and manages and shows you your carbon footprint for your manufacturing and your delivery process, so customers are well informed, and then they can make a purchase of a more environmentally friendly method of delivery. Hey guys, I hope you're getting value from this video. If you are, please make sure you hit that like button down below to let me know that you actually like this video. And if you are getting value, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well if you want to see more videos all about manufacturing and supply chain and product development and pricing and MOQs and all that sort of fun stuff. I'd greatly appreciate it if you connect with me and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions on anything that I've been talking about in regards to sustainability or anything to do with supply chain, please write them in the comments below. I'm very engaged in the comments, and I do love connecting with you guys there and get an idea of where you guys are from and what type of brands that you're building. This is my passion, so super excited to connect with you. Now let's get back to the video. Point number 7 is reduce your return rate and therefore reduce your carbon footprint. Because remember, when you deliver your goods to your final customer, if they don't like it and they send it back to you, well, the carbon footprint of sending it to the customer and having it returned back to your warehouse, having it repackaged and then sent out to someone else, or having it to discard it and throw it in the trash, has a massive carbon footprint. So we talked a little bit before about higher quality to ensure less returns, but the other thing you can do is make sure you're doing a pre-shipment inspection on all your orders coming out of China or wherever you're producing around the world. So if there are any faults with your product, whether it be a scratch on the surface or the wrong color or the wrong material or the wrong hang tag, that will be flagged up in your pre-shipment inspection report, and you can correct it right there and then at source in China or wherever you produce your goods as a result of getting returns later on down the line. So if you do need any connections to any pre-shipment inspection companies, I'm going to link below in the descriptions the ones that I work with, so you can make use of them as well and reduce your carbon footprint. So point number eight, I'm probably going to lose track of the numbers, so forgive me if I give it the wrong number here. Point number 8 is a very, very important one, right? Understanding your carbon footprint before you can reduce it, right? So we all have these goals to be like, hey, I want to reduce my environmental impact, but do we actually understand the environmental impact that we have right now? So what I want to do is develop what's called a sustainability roadmap. What is the roadmap? What is the journey of my products from when I place the order to my factory in China to the delivery to my customer in the US or Germany or wherever they may be? So yes, I purchase goods from a factory, but how many other tiers does that factory have to go through to make the product? So they're getting their raw materials from one factory, their fabrics. They're then sending those fabrics to a printing factory to maybe make your design patterns or your logos or whatever. And then that's coming to their final factory for cut and sew and assembly and packaging and inspection. And then it gets shipped out. So you might be actually using 3 factories, even though you're just communicating with one. And then they're sending those goods from the factory location to the port in China. Then it's shipping from China to a port in the US. Then it's going to a warehouse. Then it's getting unpacked and unloaded in that warehouse. Then it's getting picked up by another courier, and it's getting sent as a final delivery to the customer. So I would map out that journey, and if you don't know it, ask your manufacturer, how many other warehouses, how many other factories do you use to have my final delivery of my product? And what are the power sources that you guys use in your factory? Because for all you know, if you just ask the factory, they might actually be using solar panels. And if they have loads, and I've seen it myself in China, like been so many different factories, some of them do have solar panels on the roof of their factory. So if you actually know yourself that our goods are being made in a factory which is using renewable energy, whether it be wind turbines or solar panels or whatever, you can then use the photos of your factory to then put that on your website in your sustainability tab and mention that your goods are manufactured in a recyclable area. Now, if your factory doesn't have that and maybe it uses coal production, which is a high pollutant, you might want to talk to other factories that you have, like the backup suppliers, and ask them what energy sources do they use for production. And then you might want to consider switching or maybe giving some of your orders to those other factories just to be a more sustainable and environmentally friendly brand. But first you have to map out what is that roadmap, and then you have to figure out what is your carbon footprint, and then figure out how you can reduce it. And then once you're comfortable with that roadmap, and once you are quite confident and happy with it, then you can put it on your website and you can show where you've made reductions to show to your customers that you're making progress and really show that transparency of being an eco-friendly company. One other thing I would say about that as well is that you might want to consider direct delivery from the factory in China to your final customer. So it depends on where you're selling, whether it be Shopify or you might want to have your goods in an Amazon warehouse, or if you're doing a Kickstarter or crowdfunding campaign. Just look at the option of manufacturing goods in China, and it might be more environmentally friendly and less carbon footprint to send the goods by courier directly from your factory in China to your final customer, as opposed to just sending it to all those different locations, ports, factories, warehouse, final mile delivery, all that sort of stuff. So I would also just weigh up that option as well. Point number 9 is discuss with your factory what materials that they can make use of to have a more environmentally friendly product. Now, if you're using polyester or nylon or cotton, there are also polyester materials which are made from recycled polyester, meaning that they've taken plastic bottles from the ocean, and other companies do this. They've washed them, cleaned them, sorted them, cut them, melted them, turned them into yarns, and then used those yarns to create like polyester fabric. And a lot of factories, while they don't use that material, they definitely have access to that material. And I've used that material myself, and you could sort of estimate that that's going to be roughly 10 to 20% more expensive for the material. Now, I know what you might be thinking. I don't want an extra 10 or 20% on top of my cost of goods. My goods are already expensive and I'm in a competitive marketplace. But bear in mind that that's just 10, 20% on the cost of the material, not the cost of the final product. Because depending on what your product is, the main cost of your product might actually be the labor cost, because there's a lot of cut and sew and stitching and compartments and stuff like that. And in actual fact, the actual material cost is quite low. So even though it's 10, 20% extra on the material, it might only be like 2 or 3 or 4% more expensive on the cost of your actual goods. And if you're good at communicating that you're using recycled materials on your listing and on your website, then that might actually drive even more sales. So that might be net positive for you as a result. But you have to communicate with your manufacturers, what recyclable materials can I use on my products, or what can you offer me, or what alternatives do I have? And your manufacturer should be able to present different options to you. And if you're not happy with those options, then you can go direct to the material factories, to the fabric factories, and then source that fabric and then send it to your manufacturer and then start working on samples. But it's super easy, super smooth process. I've done it many times before. If you have any questions about this product, about this process, just let me know in the comments below. Now, just to show you that this can work, a very good example of this is a brand called Patagonia. And I want to grab my laptop real quick, and I just want to show you live on screen how they do that, how they use recyclable materials. They're actually causing a very good impact to the environment by taking fishing nets out of the ocean and using that to make swimming shorts. So I'm just going to show you live on screen what that looks like and how you guys can deliver that messaging for your brand as well. All right, here we go. So here is Patagonia, and this is that cool fabric called Net Plus, which they make from recycled fishing nets. With Net Plus, we're turning one of the most harmful forms of plastic pollution into something you can wear again and again. They've got this cool little video as well demonstrating. It just takes like 10 seconds. So pretty cool there to just show the products, and then here you can learn more about it as well, and kind of remember what we were talking about in terms of they use real images, real facts, real statistics. It's material made from 100% recycled discarded fishing nets collected from fishing communities in South America, showing the images here as well, again saying why they do it, what their aim is: plastic free oceans. They've been doing this since 2014. We've helped keep more than 525 metric tons of plastic waste out of the world's oceans, and the cool thing is they're now turning that into products, which is pretty fascinating as well. We have supported the collection and recycling of more than 1,000 tons of discarded fishing nets, which is pretty wild, to be honest. And then we guarantee everything we make. You can click here to view their footprint, and I've read all this stuff, and you can go down a real rabbit hole. They have so much information on their website, all around the theme of sustainability, how we're making change, loads of facts and statistics. Again, they're also educating people on the material as well. These guys go like really in depth. Obviously we don't need to go this detailed, but I just want to show you that this is the best example of a company. Why recycled materials, why fair trade, supply chain stories. We've got over 107 articles here. Some are like a 9-minute read, some are like 10-minute videos. If you really want to learn about this stuff and you want an example of a brand which does it best, it's definitely Patagonia. And I can go on and on and on here, and then even here they go over in more detail as well on the carbon dioxide footprint of all the stuff that they do. But we'll save this for another day. Actually, one thing that quite cool that they do, they actually call out other brands as well for misusing the sustainability terms. Where was that part? Oh, I think I've skipped past it. Yeah, the greenwashing problem. The world's largest clothing brands hide dirty, irresponsible practices and misuse words like sustainable, green and conscious. And that's kind of what we were talking about before, that it's not all right just to say something is sustainable. You have to say how, show images, show facts, show statistics, show why you're doing it, show videos. Like there's so much detail that we can go into, and Patagonia do a fantastic job of it. So I hope you enjoyed this little demo, and let's get back to the video. So point number 10 is have an eco-friendly version of your product available. Now we just talked about using recyclable materials and then putting that into your product, but what you might want to decide is like, okay, if that is going to be slightly more expensive, if it was costing you $10 and now it's costing you $12, well, you might want to offer both versions. And a company which has done this quite well is Nike, and I'm going to show that up here right now as well, is that like they offer like a football strip, And then they also next to it offer the exact same football strip, but it says sustainable materials, and that's maybe about £20 or €20 or $20 more expensive. So you're giving the customer the choice. Do you want to just buy the regular one, or do you want to pay a little bit extra and buy the one which has used sustainable materials? Me personally, I would always go for the sustainable material ones, but that way you're not like worrying, well, am I losing sales as a result of being more expensive? But you're also now creating like a new product category, even for people who only shop for sustainable products. And to lead on to that, point number 11 is that within your product strategy, you want to communicate that you're making timeless products rather than fast fashion. So we know with like fast fashion products, they're very much seen on like the runway or the catwalk. The colors are in season for this year, but then after you've worn it a few times, you throw it away. It's like out of season now. But that is very, very harmful and very, very damaging to the environment, because those clothes normally end up in a landfill. But if we can communicate in our marketing that we care about the environment, we care about our impact, therefore we create timeless pieces rather than throwaway items, it actually creates more brand value for your customers as well. Now, point number 12 is all about certifications, right? So use official certifications for the standard of which, because I'm being quite general here when I talk about be more environmental, be more sustainable. Depending on your category of product, that could mean so many different things. Like you could be into perishable goods or food products or baby products or textiles. They all have different recyclable standards and ways that we could really go down this. But luckily, if you sell on Amazon are now rewarding the brands which are using more eco-friendly solutions and have certification for it. So I'm going to show you on a screen share real quick what that looks like. All right, here we go. So this is Amazon's Climate Pledge Friendly program, and I'm going to put the link to this in the description of the video as well, in case you want to go back and check this out. But just to show you, we've partnered with trusted third-party certifications and created our own certification, Compact by Design, to highlight products that meet sustainability standards to help preserve the natural world. This is just the beginning. We're going to be working on this for a long time. As we're talking about certifications, here's just some of the certificates. Now there's loads more depending on what your category of product is, and you can ask your manufacturers what certifications they have, and then once you know what certifications are for your product, whether it be food or a textile, whatever, you can ask your manufacturers to go and get those standards on your product as well. If you want to learn more about it, you can just click here on see all certifications, and it kind of shows you so many different types of certifications that you can have. FSC to do with like paper, global recycle standards to do with recycled materials, loads of other stuff, and here it explains them all as well. So if you have the time, I'd click on this link, click on all these certifications, read about them, learn more about them. USDA organic for food. But just to go back to this website as well, it kind of shows you how they're rewarding like more compact packaging, taking up more space, taking up less space, therefore reducing your weight and carbon emissions and stuff like that. And then what's cool is that the ones which pass this test get this badge here which says Climate Pledge Friendly, and then you can shop by products which are climate friendly as well. Browse by this category, and you can kind of see down below top picks of Climate Pledge Friendly products. So Amazon will reward you for following these sustainability measures, and if you want more information on this, just click the link in the description down below and I'll have this and you can read more about it. Thanks, let's get back to the video. I've actually lost track of numbers. I don't know if we're on 11 or 12 or 13, so let's just say the next point is have a just-in-time strategy in terms of only produce what gets ordered. So I know that depending on what type of business you're in, especially if you're selling on Amazon, you have to send a lot of stock to the warehouse, but sometimes I'm sure an issue which all of us have faced in our companies is over-ordering something. You know, you order 5,000 units, but over the course of the year you only sell like 2,000 or 3,000. Now you've got half your stock, maybe 2,000 units that you have to get rid of. Either you have to clear it at a massive discount, or no one wants it and you have to get rid of it. It ends up somewhere where it shouldn't be. So if you have a more sophisticated ordering process, that will also help reduce your carbon footprint as well. And if you can work on a business model, something like crowdfunding, where you actually get your orders for your goods before you manufacture it, then you should consider that business model as well to reduce your carbon footprint. Next point is use carbon neutral couriers. Now, when I was doing the research for this video, I didn't even know this existed. But if you just go into Google and type in carbon neutral couriers, I'm sure based on your location, they will give you some couriers which are carbon neutral, meaning they do not harm or impact the environment. And how they do that is that they calculate the miles of your delivery and then offset whatever pollution they've contributed to the environment by planting trees that will reduce the emissions or equal whatever emissions they produced by planting the correct number of trees. And then they also do delivery to the final customer by use of like electronic vehicles. It's quite fascinating. I don't know enough about it to really fill you in, but I just wanted to cover that point. Just Google carbon neutral couriers, and I'm sure you'll find some delivery drivers in your location which do not harm the environment. And I believe we're on to our final point, which is have a sustainability channel of communication for your customers. As I mentioned before, you might want to put on your website a sustainability tab and mentioning all the things that we just talked about. If you're making strides in those areas, you want to constantly update that and mention what you're doing. You might want to put a QR code on your packaging. You might even want to put an email address on your website and on your packaging that says sustainability@mybrand.com. And even if that email address just goes to the normal help or support at yourbrand.com, well, at least if you have a sustainability email address, customers know that they can direct their sustainability questions or suggestions to that particular email address, and they know you're taking it seriously as a brand if you have a very distinct member of staff or channel of communication for handling sustainability. I think it would be something that would be massively rewarded because we really have to think about how we can have an advantage over our customers. But in today's challenging environment where goods are getting delayed and costs are going up and materials prices are constantly changing and becoming more scarce, well, positively impacting the environment is a way that we can claw back some of those sales while also helping the environment as well. Now, just before we wrap up, I just want to mention, remember, you're not supposed to be perfect at this, right? The key thing here is to make positive changes. Take this information on board. If this resonates with you, just see where you can make those mild improvements. It might be changing the packaging of your product. It might be changing the material of your product. It might be the way your goods get finally delivered. It might be focused on higher quality of your products. There's so many different ways that we've gone over it. It might be sourcing your products from a factory which uses solar panels rather than one that uses coal energy. There's so many different ways that we can impact the environment and create more sustainability within our products and brands and supply chain and final delivery to the customer as well. But remember, let's just be transparent about it. Let's know all these changes that we're doing. Let's communicate that with the customer. Let's be honest about it. Let's give real facts and figures, and let's impact the planet in a positive way. But thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Just remember, if you want to stay in touch with me, I'm on Instagram, Kian_JG, and I also have a free Facebook group called Sourcing with Kian where you can write any questions you have in there. Thanks very much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. Also, if you need any help with your supply chain, with your products, your prices, your factory, your quality, anything like that, I do have services for that. I've got an awesome sourcing agency, Titan Sourcing. I've got one-on-one coaching. I've got links to masterminds, which I'm a part of, group coaching, all this sort of fun stuff. So if you do need any help with your supply chain, just check the links in the description down below, and I look forward to seeing you guys in person one day. Now, I've got one final surprise for you. In my next episode, I'm going to be traveling to another company here in Scotland, which is one of the largest eco-friendly packaging producers in the world. They're working on some fantastic technology, some really innovative stuff. I'm going to email the founder, which is a very good friend of mine. We're going to go much deeper than we did today in terms of eco-friendly packaging and solutions for your e-commerce brand or whatever brand you may have. So definitely subscribe to the channel if you want to see that content, and I look forward to delivering that for you guys. Take care and have a good one.